Hey guys, F1 Fanatic here, and sorry about the ambience, but got a bit of a rainstorm going on here, so you may hear it, you may not hear it, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But, back to the subject at hand, yesterday Codemasters finally revealed the hot lap of F1 2014. Finally, the first hot lap. So, without further ado, I'll play it for you and see what you think. Alright, you just watched the first hot lap of F1 2014 with Fernando Alonso's car around the wonderful Bahrain International Circuit, dimmed under the lights. Yes, the 495 lampposts all around the Bahrain International Circuit. And I will provide a link for the actual proof that the Bahrain International Circuit has 495 floodlights surrounding the entire track. Why they need 495 floodlights, I don't know, but that's according to this webpage that I'm going to provide in the description for this video. It apparently proves that there's 495 floodlights all around the Bahrain International Circuit. But anyway, back to the hot lap. I have put down some thoughts I'm going to talk about right now, but mainly some aspects of this hot lap were very good. The turbochargers, absolutely phenomenal. They hit the nail perfectly on that. They couldn't have got any more realistic than that. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal. It almost gains a nostalgic effect. Going back to the mid and late 80s when turbochargers were last around in Formula 1, it was absolutely phenomenal. It was just, wow. I mean, as Irva said, it's quite an eargasm. And it's phenomenal just listening to it. It compels you to watch the entire trailer, or the entire hot lap. It's just absolutely phenomenal. But I will say something different about the engine. I think the engine was a little overdone. I think it could be a little bit of a lower pitch. I think it seemed like it was to a higher pitch, and I think it needed a little more of a lower pitch. And I think it also needs to add a little more, somehow add a little bit more of a growl to it. Because if you listen to the actual engines in some of the Grand Prix and stuff like that, I think the engines have a little more of a growl to it when you listen to it. I'm just going to say it could be lower in pitch, and it needs a little more of a growl to it. I mean, I don't know if Codemasters can make last-minute changes like that with the audio. I don't know if they can do that, or if it's too much of a project to do last-minute changes. But that's my thought on it. I think the engines could have been a little better, but absolutely the turbochargers were phenomenal. I mean, that doesn't need to be changed. That can't be changed. It's fine the way it is, right where it is now. But another thing I noticed too is like the replay cams that were in there. They are a little more realistic. It got more of the flybys and stuff like that. I think they added a little more of a realistic touch to it, and I think it was a nice feel. But just looking at the Bahrain International Circuit, it was just phenomenal. Looking at the different, like the floodlights, as I said, the 495 floodlights. But I think the Bahrain International Circuit looked phenomenal under the lights. I think they did a pretty good job with the shadings and the lighting and stuff like that. Looked fairly decent to me. I didn't notice anything that was out of the blue. But, I mean, as many people are complaining about with this, the graphics, I'm going to go ahead and say it's the same as F1 2013, basically, graphics-wise, for this entire game. Although I will say, I'm not saying, I don't mean to say that in a bad way. I don't think it's such a bad thing that this game doesn't have different graphics. I think the whole sporting regulations, the new sporting regulations and new drive, team changes and different tracks that come into the schedule. And even if you go furthermore into like the new graphical designs that you'll see like when you're playing the game and stuff like that, I think that could also provide the change to the game, and I don't think it's so much about the graphics. I think it's more about everything but the graphics. I think when it comes to next gen F1 will definitely see better graphics. Definitely. I mean, that's going to be the game to look for graphics wise, but I think F1 2014 will be a very good holdover until that time comes when the next gen F1 details are released and stuff like that. But I think overall F1 2014 graphics-wise, even though it's the same, I don't see that as a bad thing. I think everything else, like the new sporting regulations with the engines and turbochargers, and even ERS instead of KERS, I think is another great addition. And I think all those changes together may help make the game even more playable, as opposed to just saying, oh, this is the same game, I'm not going to play it. I mean, tech graphics-wise, you're right, it is the same game. But, like I said, with all the different sporting regulations and team changes and stuff like that, and new tracks added to the calendar, and like I said, even furthermore with the graphical designs, I think all of that combined could provide a very good standing for F1 2014. But to give my overall thoughts on it, the turbochargers, absolutely perfect. I mean, it couldn't go any further than that. It was just phenomenal. But the engines, they need a little more work on them. Lower pitch, more growl. And like I said, I don't know if Codemasters can do last-minute changes like that. I mean, if so, it wouldn't hurt to try. But, I mean, if it's more work than it's worth, then, whatever. I mean, we can deal with it. But, of course, that's only Ferrari's engine. I mean, Ferrari's engine is probably one of my more favorites out of all the 2014 cars. I remember I was looking through YouTube and I saw one YouTube video, and I think it was actually, ironically, it was the Bahrain Grand Prix, and I think it was on board with Kimi Räikkönen, and I remember watching the T-cam of it. I don't remember what the exact video was. If it was, I would link it, but I was listening to it, and I noticed, I think he was coming out of the pits, and all of a sudden, like, when they gave him the green light to come out of the pits, all of a sudden I heard like this like growl come out of the engine. It was almost like, I'm gonna say it, it was almost like a NASCAR type growl to it. I'm like, my God, I mean, what is this, NASCAR now? But it had like this insane growl, and I think it was also during the formation lap. I heard like this deep growl come from the Ferrari. I'm like, whoa! But I think that needs to be shown a little more. If that is shown more, that could make F1 2014 very interesting to play. And I think it would almost, I think with the growl of the engine, it would almost make people want to play it more often. Whereas, most games kind of get left after a year or two of its existence. I mean, this game, it could be 5 years from now and people are still playing F1 2014 if the growl of that engine is still in there. But honestly, I think it's phenomenal. I think that needs to get, if that gets a little more work done on it, if it's possible to get more work done on it. I mean, if it's not, oh well, we could deal with it, but if it's possible that there could be last-minute changes with that, that'd be phenomenal. That could make that game I won't say worth so much more, but I would absolutely say that I think the game would be a lot more playable to people, and I think it'd be it would make it that much more interesting just to listen to the engines and stuff like that. But yeah, so like I said, turbochargers perfect. Engines need a little work, lower pitch, more growl. The replay cams are better. However, there was an issue that I personally noticed with F1 2013 is that, I don't know if any of you other YouTubers noticed it, but in F1 2013, it seemed like at the same places on every lap, the camera would be at the same angle. So like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain it. It'd be better to visually show it. But say if you just did like a typical time trial in F1 2013 and you watch the replay after you do it, you'll start to notice that after each lap, the camera angles are literally the same every lap. They don't change. That's one thing that I'm kind of concerned about with F1 2014, and I'm hoping it can be a bit of an improvement, because I specifically noticed that every lap, it's the same camera angles, and it kind of gets annoying after a while just seeing the same camera angles. I mean, it would be perfect if they could have different camera angles to a point where every lap it would be a different camera angle and it wouldn't look the same every lap. I mean, that's not a shot to Codemasters, but it's something I hope is an improvement for F1 2014. I mean, the new replay cams themselves kind of shed some hope on that, but I think it would be very great if Codemasters got to that point where they have all these different replay cams, so every lap wouldn't look the same on a replay or on the replay cams. But then we'll see how that happens. We'll see how that works out when it's released October 17th and October 21st in the US. But I think overall, I'm going to give this hot lap basically on a 10-point scale. I'd give it a 9. Originally, I would give it an 8, but just because those turbochargers are absolutely phenomenal, I'll boost it up a point. I mean, it's very good overall. It's shedding some light and some hope on the game. Some people had some frustrations with it not being on next gen and not having classic cars. I mean, with classic cars, I'm still frustrated myself. But, I mean, there's different sporting regulations and stuff like that that come into play. And as Codemasters has stated themselves, you know, there just wasn't enough time to squeeze that into F1 2014. And if you do that, you want that quality or the quality of that content to be good. You know, you don't want to just squeeze it in there and have people complaining because there's not a lot of good quality to it. I mean, if you put it in there, you got to take a lot of time to be able to put that stuff in there with very good quality. So, I mean, I kind of understand that concept now, and it's starting to make sense to me. You know, I mean, there's so much stuff with F1 2014 and the next gen, it's just not enough time to squeeze it in. I mean, maybe we could see in the future next gen games, and all the next gen F1 games, I mean, in future games we could see classic cars and stuff like that. But overall, I think F1 2014 so far is looking at a 9 out of 10 on a 10-point scale. Judging based off this hot lap. I mean, there's more hot laps to come. It could get better, it could get worse. I don't know, but that's my thought on it right now. But just for the sake of this video, I gotta show my most favorite part of the entire hot lap. And it's gotta showcase that turbocharger. Just take a look, man. I mean... right there. It's just... it's phenomenal just to hear it go down and then go back up. It's very nostalgic. It's just... I can't even put it into words how addictive that is. It's like very intoxicating when you listen to it. Like I said, they hit that right on the nail. Absolutely perfect. But other than all of the overall thoughts on it, my hopes for the next hot lap, obviously I don't know when that will be. My hope is that it could be maybe next week or the week after, because, I mean, next weekend is Spa, the Belgian Grand Prix, so maybe they could do another one next week or the week after that, maybe. But some of my hopes for the next hot lap are maybe we could see the offset T-cam again, as we did in the F1 2013 hot lap videos. Maybe we can see a little bit of the offset T-cam, just so we can get the full experience of being in the driver's seat and just hearing that engine rather than seeing the replay cam. Because I remember when I first watched the F1 2014 hot lap, I actually kind of was disappointed at the fact that it was like a replay cam. But then, of course, it took me several minutes to finally figure out, oh, they maybe just wanted to get the different sights and hear the different sounds of the engines and stuff like that. But I would love to see an offset T-cam view again, similar to F1 2013. I mean, the commentary, I could do without. I mean, if it has to be there, it has to be there. But honestly, I think seeing the offset T-cam would be great, because then you can just listen to that engine and get that full experience of what it's going to be like when you actually play the game, as opposed to showing a replay of just what the game looks like. But maybe next week they could do Spa. Could be for a choice of venue for the hot lap. Could be Spa, because the Belgian Grand Prix is next weekend. That's kind of my hope. But although if not, I think it'd be nice to see the Red Bull Ring in Austria, since that's new to the calendar and it hasn't been on for the past, I want to say 10 or 11 years. I think 2003. I could be wrong, but I think 2003 was the last time they had the Austrian Grand Prix. But since that's back on the calendar this year, that would be a nice venue to have the next hot lap. The choice of car, I don't know, but I'm gonna just pick the choice of venue. Could be either Austria, or as semi predicted, it could be Spa as well. But that's my take on this first hot lap. So anyway, that's it, guys. Please subscribe, like, comment on your thoughts about F1 2014 so far with the hot lap video of sorts. And as you saw in the last video, I'm now partnered with the Freedom Network, so you can check out, I made a video yesterday on that. You can check out all the details about the Freedom Network. I have some other videos too about the time trial series. For now, the Roxio game cap, it's still broken. I don't think I ever will get it fixed, but I mean, if you guys have any ideas on fixing the whole select video device failed thing, you can check out the video too on my channel. I'll even probably link it in the description. So you guys can just check it out that way. But anyway, yeah, please, guys, subscribe, like, comment on your thoughts on F1 2014. But that's it. Until the next Hot Lap, folks, this is F1 Fanatics signing out. See you later.